I've also taken this step to send an unmistakable signal to all public office holders, especially those that I have appointed, that I take the declaration of assets very seriously and expect full compliance from them. I've asked the Chief of Staff to send word to all appointees to ensure that they declare their assets by the end of the first quarter of this year, that is by 31st March 2025. I wish to stress that any appointee failing to meet this deadline would face severe sanctions, not excluding removal from office. Even as we strive to hold past government officials accountable for their stewardship, I deem it even more imperative to enforce anti-corruption among our present public office holders. Charity, they say, begins at home. I'm therefore determined to take the necessary steps to ensure that we fight corruption vigorously so that the precious little resources that have been entrusted to us by the Ghanaian people are used only in their interest. There have been issues raised about the effectiveness of the current assets declaration regime. We must take advantage of the current constitution review process to strengthen the assets declaration regime to make it more relevant to changing times. I believe that we must move to a regime where the assets so declared can be published before and after public office, so that the phenomenon of unexplained and overnight wealth, obviously earned through the proceeds of corruption, can be checked. I trust that a healthy debate can be had over this issue and consensus built on the way forward, so that collectively we can defeat the unwholesome canker of corruption. I thank you for your kind attention.
So at our end there, we receive your form, just like His Excellency has done. You don't seal it. We are going to open it to see exactly what entries you have made. But when we are looking at it, what we are looking at is whether you have not left any blank spaces, whether you have not left your bank balances. Some may list all the banks that they have, but there will be no balances at it, and we will call you to come and redo it. That's the extent to which we do this. If you say you have 10 bank accounts and you bring it to us, how are we to be sure that indeed it is only 10 bank accounts that you have? If you say you have 2 buildings, what can we do to ensure that it is exactly the 2 buildings that you have? So reviewing the constitution, as His Excellency has said, I think it's a very, very important issue that we have to take seriously. And we also support the publishing. If you submit your assets and declaration forms, we should be able to publish it freely. And the time that you are leaving office too, we will publish it to see the changes that have happened ever since you started in the office. So on behalf of myself and my staff from the audit service, we welcome His Excellency's wonderful idea, and whatever we can do to support, we will do. Thank you so much.
Ghana Mampenyi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama na japade nyina no declaration of asset no e wona tanaye kesi mama Ghana fo nyina no obia no entimi NTB send o my Ghana Declaration Asset Act no esichire no se wo ye oban mu somfo na so bekuta dibire bi ese fata na se eso a e wo se o japade a wo nyina no utimi e de e mampenifo na mpenifo utimi hunu mu wo kina bi nso no wo kwa mpenifo utimi ahwe na ye hunu se nya de abefo ma na japade bia no na wo de account de ho na na Ghana Mampenyi His Excellency John Dramani Mahama watimi declare ni asset a say akwakoye enije papa na we na Auditor General Owura Johnson Akuamo Asietu opanyini so wokasa na wode ato wona wo besom ewa ban na somfo nyina anim se wonhwe hu ni se omunyina so be na o medical o asset se na President John Dramani Mahama watimi declare ni asset na kama na President John Dramani Mahama gina so edito na so afo nyina anim se wo ye na so afo anaso ye no somfo na when declare asset send your asset declaration act ni sitie na first quarter 2025 you kwa wiye mechire hwie be epoboso me no kwa wiye a ene obetwe waso papa anhwe mpo na odibire kuram no oba beje edi efiri wunsam nti abra na o mampanyini o declare na asset no na wogina so de ato na so mfu nyina ni so obi anso hwe hu ni se obi anso ebe declare na asset se na waye no enye sa na epoboso me ni twam na won declare asset a odo be famra kwan so wanhwe na odibire kuram mpo no waje edi efiri wunsam na eno na Auditor General Owura Johnson Akuamo Asietu wono so ka na odi episo se ye mra se wogi penie se wo besom se dibire kura wono aban so mfa na se dibira kese sawa no a wo so otimi declare was nti wan ntimi an declare was na kwa bi so krampo no wa form na emom ni akwakoye challenge ana se wo haw kese pa e dia mo ne se sa se mesi na ye wo so afo oba wo se mi fie ye mienu me ka se ye mienu me bank account ye miensa wono na wo ye auditor general no woni tumi bia so be ka se da bi ma memfa akire nkonkohwe account bia wo ba bia na se ka bia hye ba bi da bi ne ye dia ma no eno anu wodi so nti nipa na eba na so wo ka se auditor me ka se ye tu a eno anu no ena mpinifo be tu mi fie ye miensa eno anu no ena mpinifo be tu mu woni tumi so wo fa akire eno ni ade ye haw kese pa nka anya hwe no ene wo ba uni ho kwan so di bibia sia na mpo untimi fa bibia nsia na nkeye na so kokoba se ya oni ho kwan ne ye be declare no eno no so be hwe so no de ye adwuma afei so wo sa gina so wo sero mampanyini se be ya na ka asset declaration act krampo no mpinifo nya sesa wo misane ye be na wo ba na wo be declare wo asset a ye mpesem na Ghana fo nyina hunu bi se asemese wo ba be so so afo no obai ne fie yesei ne cars yesei ne bank account ye baako se nyina so sika sei ne demu na Ghana fo nyina tima ko bia publish na obi ahunu bi wo besum wiens na wo kwa na afensu so ne wanya de aka ho no eno so ya publish na obi ahunu bi ogidi se koba se be bo ma hunu mu fan etima ye adwuma ka bi ma menka bi so no ebegina brane ma Ghana fo nya gidie e wa ban amanyosem na asoafo entem san kwan koba sa na se declare your act na se declare your asset na nipa ne ba obi declare na asset me wo cars mienu me wo fie mienu me bank account mienu eno anu no untimi mfa akira na se untimi bisa ne se oh yes sure se mienu ana se de aka untimi bisa ne hwe no de be ma no eno ana be declare eno na auditor general Owura Johnson Ekwemu asidu chirim se ebe ye wo haw kese pa wonya ya na campaign for nya amendment se na be na be declare wa asset a enye jese untimi fa binsi wa declare nyina na ya san publish afei so wo konso so na ya san publish ne wanya de aka ho na Ghana fo nyina no atumi ehun bi nsem nyina no be de ne o mampanyina tena ye wa bra na o declare ne asset afi atwa mu asase na kolera yare a esuo mu wuja nan na wofe unity wo my Ghana mu beye October busumi mu hodo mana nanka ye boye homodin se ya bit maso ano kolera yare no nya foforo wo my Ghana mu ye ne na atena che papa eni isusu ano krampo no wonya ORS na che sanka wanom na aboa na se na be ya woro ne bibribe no ohunsuo no atimi egina brane nanso kolera unity die ya so mu a age Ghana fo nsem ya kwoye ntimi endi so nkonim October busumi afi atwa mu no ene yesu kopie mu wo Addai West wo Greater Accra mantamu mu a ene yare unity wo hono mo yeso mu bia na so ya ntumi anko ene yare no atese akomantama hodo mu o my Ghana mu a 6145 recorded cases ena Ghana yensake mu 719 dem pinfo nhwemu akonfirm se ampa ye kolera yare ni bi nipa aduanan enkono 49 ene wofo mu a wato na nanom ewo ense do yare ne sha seketwa bi wa Addai West ewo nkramantamu mu atretire makwa kopie mu finfim mantamu akwa kopie mu ewo atoye mantamu akopie mu wasante mantamu ena akwa kopie mu ewo apoye mantamu na empenifo chimso kopie mu ewo finfim mantamu agona West ene efutu eho de yare no anokoye di wo hono papa ene nipa 133 ene yare wonsa etumi ka bi mu aduonu miensa 23 de ya admiti wo mu ene mu mienu fo mu a wo to na nanom ewo ense do ensem nyina no bede di ne wo na se bedwafi wa bra orumunya fo kwabra minta kando apomuden so afo na wo kasa ede afa kolera yare no ho ewo mra se bedwafi de wo chiem se yare nyina tie se ewo ma Ghana mu mpinifo na so wasori waka wo hwe hu ne se yare no obetumi atu so sase ne be na o my Ghana mu asundwie ene apomuden fa ebetumi afa ne ntoma pa ede efra orumunya fo kwabra minta kando gina so a wo de atudwa se ne yefira ase a yeso so Ghana fo nyina num ene wo mpatem ho no se wote se apomuden adwuma efu bi aba ho no wo so nipa num a so akọ na yetima so wanum se ne be na kolera yare no ebetumi abọ ho ban ede efiri ho we ne sese dodo na no ene orumunya fo kwamena minta akando ekire mu se aban ne degu apono so a wo hwe hu ne se kolera yare no ebetumi ahwe na yetu ase ewo wo my Ghana emu Forest Bureau Ajumako a eni ukuta foreign currency bia utimi bo na udi wuro mu wakọ akọsesa se won pese obekọ sikakrabia batan bank bia mu akọsesa wo exchange foreign currency a Forest Bureau bia no gbowure mu omutimi sesa ma wo ma no tumi eyeye na weyi na panyina wogina movement for change kuna no ekopre o mampanyina di brebi wakasa na wode ato fotosanfo anim se ebe ya na ka Forest Bureau dwumadi o my Ghana mu no yembra no ase yen suspend se ne ebe na se obi okuta foreign currency na opese wosesa ene na wakọ bank bi ebe enu omu wakọ no atima akọ sesa ogidi se koba se bebo ma ye Ghana sidi numpo no ahoden atuma bam se ankwa koba sei na sa abiri bia no ene foreign currency ye pese sesa foreign bureau for hono okwa ne open wo de je exchange rate a bank nso de aba no mo pe no mo de je okọ black market nso so no mo pe no mo de je koba sa emwa ema Ghana ye sika ho nsem no entimi nkoyi a sidi nso no ahoden entimi mbam se ne ye se na efata opanyina wokasa edema movement for change kunuru Andrew Apia dankwa na wode sa ensemu etudwa opanyini tirem se edija wane ede asoa edi saban na omaba ede eje omo edutini swapa kese ene ede aso omo no na wono so akwakoye Ghana ni die odwene Ghana ho ntu ogina so na wasre owura Ato Forson and NDC woye fotosamfo se kakra wo edema no ene se wode na aban penifo nsi nkonya wonto ato adwen na ebeya forest bureau dwumadi ahodo Ghana nyina mu no ye suspend na nase yembra no ase no obi ewo foreign currency na opeso osesa wo fanko bank na ye sesa fanko man ko ba sa ebeboa ama yeside no ahodin atumi abamu enko ba sa biribia no obi gbura forest bureau bi emu a ene rate egbura mo pe no na omode agine pa no wo se ko ba sa ebekoso na aha ye Ghana cedi no ntisi pese cedi na ahodin ba mu a forest bureau dwumadi ye suspend no answer. Ora Clement Abedu opinioni we development policy and research consultant ada opinioni wakasa ede atudwa se president John Dramani Mahama ohwe abato Ghana for tu bum ede ma no a na idi adanse ye sampa Ghana for ogidie ewo NDC amanyuko mu pa na nyinyina so no bra na president John Dramani Mahama wo bonto ano wona Ghana for kasa ye ebo na no ho ba so obehwe hunu se obeye adwumaden obeye adwumaso kata se dwirim kro no na wotu ase ede afiri wo my Ghana mu ne no ene di se ene ni ade ba ko ma Ghana fo ni agidie to aba e de ma endi se sanse kata se dwirim kro no Ghana fo afono yen
na the office of the special prosecutor na yeze attorney general na so baka ho ni na dem robaya yeba quentia corruption na am the dem kase na recording na the etifu wankasa wa judge there what she say more recording ya en biara corruption ni ebutu bi mu aye ya en biara reset ya hina yerefi able to be reset from the side of corruption and another within the space of corruption able to be reset again on money able to make about break corruption now I think that it leaves a lot to worry the Sunday say special prosecutor master also require na ishe attorney general nominating say amount for boy Jesus amount for nye there also be a watch law for so many years. Watch lawyers who the Mokum has in our friend Attorney General name there is the very best son. But if and when I was starting to tea, it is the NDC who will be crampano are not so happy about so far nay approach another well wishing Ghanaians and you're happy about it. When you're a mama can't say the penny there, Mama Casanetin. President John Dramani Mahama say nankasa ojitumde corruption oye hawa onam do magana for titil otu abazaman massively win this number of votes possibly ye manpanyin biem okum ha no corruption komono anka kamakuti Clement or kamakuti kwisima nyunuko it should have been the first issuer of organizing the national forum and our dialogue on it. Was Sunday for almost every facet of our life. Also, can start the economic forum, teacher education, all the sectors I can assume the fundamental issue them sectors in a challenge workers see or corruption. Na
Bedu opinion or development policy and research consultant. Ena muhuno ewo mu TV no esono empenfo a eda University of Media Art and Communication ye Trinity a efren uni makano ede amamre ne amani egu apono so school fo no afofrofo a wo ba no wode age wo mu ewo school no mu na dwumade ba so wona tena ye ewo enkran na dwumade ase no na vice chancellor wode suapo no ano Professor Eric Opoku Mensa wakasa edi ato adisuafo ni nyina anim se ne waso afuna kese mu na wadin se school ni hyehye nyina no obedi so na wadi asua ade no wo se adisuafo no se wonhwe na wonye ne sanso pepepe enfama school no wachina bi no woso mbanfa so enfama wabusua na wo mai Ghana na opanyini safa akunya no so a learning management system Trinity a FN LMS na e-library school ni di adwuma no wo kire adisuafo no mu kwan a obefa so na wotimi ede ayi adwuma na atimi aboa wo mo eni a kire wo kire ade e wo school no mo Vice Chancellor Chirimu say the Ghana for 3,663 and I say auto application forms and anko nyina no won kondo so according to tie e Unimark school no mo na baby ye no na emu 2,177 and am paying for etimi afo mu school no mo emu 1,478 ma and emu 580 member na wo chirim se mu 1,477 no Institute of Journalism ho and I say woko akwakwagye ntetie emu 86 and so Institute of Languages and also kwakwaje ntete mu 238 Institute of Film and Television ho no also kwakwaje ntete and 252 School of Graduate Studies ho na wonso no okọ na wakwakwaje ntete Professor Mensa gina so de tradition for nyina nim se school na wanya kwan na obabaje ntete wo mu no dodo na ne peye se nko benya kwan na so wantumi anya enti omo de omucha yeye na empinfo aje omo school mu no wonhwe hu ni se abefo kwan wo fa so no di djuma e wo school mu no omo nyina no besua na wotimi afaso pepepe na adisua no etima ye fo e de amo omo na wochine bi no Unimark ne mapa wo e de ma Ghana fo no omo so ebetumi enya so emfaso bi na won so etumi abanfo so de ma school no wo my Ghana e na afi wo nyina no wona busua
about trade and adding value, which is why we're here. I think that we must look at the comparative advantages we have as Africa and unashamedly exploit those advantages. And I can see that in the place of agriculture and agribusiness. I can see it in the area of our natural resource endowment. How are we indigenizing these natural resources? In the past, we didn't have capital, we didn't have the technology. And so large multinational companies came and took huge concessions, and they exploited it to their advantage. A lot of the benefits from exploitation of our natural resources went to the metropolitan capitals. Today, the capital is available if you want it and you look for it. Today, the technology is available. We have situations in Ghana where in the gold mining industry, the bulk of the mining actually is done by indigenous companies. You find a multinational company only where the gold is being poured. And so if we do all the mining, we do the drilling, we do the blasting, we do the crushing, we fill the crushing plants. I mean, we can do the last mile of also pouring the gold and making sure that the benefits of that gold come to our country. The same with cocoa. We've exported cocoa beans for God knows how many years, and still we export cocoa beans. There's some processing capacity, it's about 30%. We have the capacity to process almost 500,000 tons of cocoa, but we're not processing that much. We're processing at about 200,000 tons because the cocoa board that needs to be extracted believes that it gets immediate foreign exchange when the beans are traded, and we sell for it, and so they get the money in advance before we even export one bean. But bringing the value addition home will be bringing jobs back so that our young people can get jobs to do, especially putting that processing in the areas where the cocoa is grown. And that's why we're excited about the initiative between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, because together we produce about 80% of the world's cocoa. And so if we coordinate and work together, not only in terms of improving production, but also in terms of processing and bringing processing up to that chocolate, that last chocolate home, will create more jobs for our young people, because we all recognize that with a growing youth population, yes, it's an advantage for Africa, but if we're not creating opportunities for these young people, then it becomes a ticking time bomb. Marks a significant step in fulfilling one of the commitments of our 120-day social contract with the good people of Ghana. A commitment to build consensus on the urgent and necessary reforms needed to reset our education sector. Education is not just a tool for personal development, it is the bedrock upon which the progress and prosperity of any nation rests. It defines the present and determines the future of our country. Education must remain a tool for empowerment, equality, and transformation in Ghana, it is also an important instrument for social mobility. It must inspire hope and deliver opportunity for all, whether you're born in Accra or the most remotest part of our nation. We recognize that the education system we inherited has not kept pace with the needs of 21st century society and the fourth industrial revolution. As the world evolves, so must our education system, because what worked in the past no longer suffices for the challenges and opportunities of today and tomorrow. It is this realization that has brought us together here today, united in our belief that education reform is just not an option, but a necessity. Ladies and gentlemen, the National Consultative Forum on Education is a platform to bring all stakeholders to the table: governments, policymakers, teachers, students, parents, traditional leaders, religious leaders, political party representatives, development partners, and all members of civil society. We are here because we recognize that the task of reimagining Ghana's education system is not one that any single entity can do alone. Education reform is a shared responsibility. It is a collective journey that requires all voices, all perspectives, and all hands on deck. This consultative process, I believe, will bring out the best solutions born out of dialogue, partnership, and mutual understanding to deal with our current and future challenges. Our goal today is to engage in an honest and productive discussion about the current state of education in Ghana, to diagnose the challenges and craft a bold and actionable roadmap for reform. Togbi Chairman, the current challenges facing our educational system require strategic priorities, fresh solutions derived from objective and non-partisan interrogation of issues, and a renewed sense of urgency. The moment to act together is here and now, and we must use this forum to answer critical questions such as: how do we ensure that every child in Ghana receives quality education regardless of where they are born or live?